to another episode of the Shooting Part Podcast. We're on episode 8 here. Got a couple of tournaments from this past weekend to kind of go over, talk about. We only got one coming up for this upcoming weekend, so slowing down a little bit, but week after this weekend, we're going to have a lot of tournaments going on. But let's jump right into the Rocket Mortgage Classic up in Detroit Golf Club, Detroit, Michigan. It was a fun tournament. You had Aaron Ray, Akshay Bhatia, Minwoo Lee, Davis Thompson all tied for second at minus 17. And then Cam Davis won it at minus 18. I think there was probably 5 more people that were tied for third at minus 16. So there was a ton of people in the running for this tournament. The final round was all over the place. Basically, everybody in the tournament almost had their name at the top of the leaderboard at some point on that final day, it felt like. But the day started with Bhatia and Ray with a share for the lead at 17 under. Both of them would end up shooting even par on the final round. So for Ray, it was 3 bogeys, 3 birdies, and for Bhatia, it was 2 and 2. You got a feel for Bhatia. Dude's been through it. But Cam Young was in second place with a minus 16 to start the day. He ends up shooting 1 over. He ends up in a tie for 6th place. So I guess technically it's 6th place, yeah, at minus 16. I'm sorry, minus 15. Minwoo Lee started the day at minus 14, shot 3 under to get himself into a 4-way tie for second. Davis Thompson started the day at 13 under and shot a 4 under to get himself into a running for the lead there. And then Cam Davis, who started the day at 16 under, was able to go 2 under and hold on to the lead with a lot of help from number 18. That number 18 just did a number on some of these guys. So Thompson made a run at the hole from over 21 feet to within 2 feet, but wasn't able to put it in. So he ended up, I believe, parring that hole. Ray's second shot left him in the greenside bunker, which he had a great out, but was only able to get a par on that hole. Minwoo Lee would bogey after an errant third shot from just off the green that would go off the other side of the green. So he ended up bogeying, which, again, if he pars that, go into a playoff, and anything can happen. And then Bhatia, you got to feel for this dude. He missed just over a 4-foot putt to bogey the hole, which gave Cam Davis a win without having to go to the playoff. It's rough for Bhatia. Feel like he's been right there recently. So, he's playing well, he's playing great. He just has to get that one final round, or that one final putt really is really all he needed to at least push it to a playoff, and anything can happen in the playoff. You never know. So, congrats to Cam Davis. He was able to get his name at the top of the leaderboard when it mattered the most, which is the end. So, good on him. Congrats to him. It was a fun tournament, but we'll move on. We got the LPGA, the Dow Championship. This was the team tournament that I was telling you guys about last week. So, first round, alt shot, third round, alt shot, and then second and fourth rounds were best ball. Which, again, if you don't know what that means, go look it up. Because I feel like they're self-explanatory, but I'm sure people are probably confused. It was fun to watch because, alt shot's just a fun game to play if you're playing with 4 guys, 2 teams of 2. Do alt shot on a couple of holes. It's a lot of fun. Puts pressure on every single player because they don't want to ruin it for the team. So it was a lot of a lot of fun to see that. And then best balls, obviously, you know, I've played in a lot of tournaments where it's best ball, and I mean, just makes it more interesting, and, you know, usually helps the team shoot pretty low scores. But after the third round, which was, again, the second alt shot round, Ewing and Kupchko had the one-stroke lead on the field going into the final day. They would end up shooting 6 under, as both of them would birdie 6, 12, 14. Kupchko birdied 7 and 9 as well. Ewing would birdie 15 to negate Kupchko's bogey, and would par 18, negating Kupchko's other bogey there on that hole. So, obviously, they helped each other out a little bit, but, you know, when you're both birdieing 6, 12, and 14, you would have wished that, you know, maybe one of them would have birdied a different hole. Try and get them that extra score there, but Kang and Kim were also tied for second, and would shoot a 5 under on the final day, both birdieing 1, 2, 12. Kang parred 4 and 14 to negate the bogeys from her teammate on those holes, and birdied 5 as well to help the team. And then Kim parred 16 to negate a bogey by her teammate, as well as birdieing 11, where her teammate did not finish the hole, which, I mean, just dropped out of the hole. She didn't get hurt or anything. Just decided she didn't want to finish because she probably hit it out of bounds. I can't remember exactly. And then you have Thidikul and Yin. I don't know how to pronounce the name. That's on me. Sorry. And Yin were also in second coming into the day, one behind the leaders. They would shoot an 8 under with each teammate contributing 4 birdies on 4 different holes. That is the ideal team right there. So the final standings were Austin and Grace Kim, minus 18. Georgia Hall and Charlie Hull, minus 18. Heiji Kang and In Kyung Kim, minus 19. Nicole Brosh Estrup and Nana Cortez Madsen, minus 19. Allie Ewing and Jennifer Kupchko, minus 21. And then the winners were Athana Thidikul and Ryong Yin, minus 22 for the win. I 110% jacked that name up. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna start like finding pronunciations of these names before I do this, because I feel like every week I'm jacking names up, and probably not a good look on me. So sorry that I jacked that name up again. But yeah, it made for a fun tournament. Again, it was cool to see Thidikul and Yin each contributing 4 birdies on 4 different holes. Like, again, that's the ideal team right there. You know, when you're playing best ball, you know, you want your teammate birdieing the holes that you're not, and you want to be birdieing the holes that they're not birdieing. So, good on them. Great win for them. Obviously, they have the week off now, and then they're heading out to, I believe, Scotland. I got to double check that. I believe they're heading out. They're heading out to overseas. They're going over the ocean somewhere in Europe. I just can't remember if it's Scotland or if they're in France right now for this next one. But I know that they do have their Open Championship coming up too at some point here soon. But yeah, again, cool tournament. So if you didn't get to see it, go back, watch a little bit of the highlights. Looked pretty good. Didn't have a great showing out there, but you know, it is what it is. It wasn't a major or anything, so I don't even think that Rocket Mortgage Classic had a great showing either. So just wasn't a weekend to go out and watch some golf. But it is what it is. Watching on TV, just as good. So let's jump in. You had the golf news from the past week. Again, not much going on, to be honest with you. So the one thing that I thought was kind of funny, because we've all been there, and when I say this, you're going to realize we've all been there. Sunday, it was a bad day to be Cam Young's driver. So after a lot of frustration of missing fairways, I believe throughout the tournament, but I know on Sunday, he snapped his driver on 14, just allowing his frustrations and anger to get the best of him, which again, we've all been there, that we've wanted to do that. A lot of us don't have the money to go snap a driver so that we can go buy a new one, but we've all been there that we've wanted to do that. I've broken my finger, breaking a club before. So, snapped it over a tree. The tree won. Club broke, but so did my finger. So, yeah, we've all been there with the anger. Funny, speaking of that too, I was talking to bartender last night who is studying sports psychology, and she was telling me that apparently golf is one of the biggest ones for sports psychologists to get into, because obviously the sport is 90% mental, 10% physical, which it is. I mean, everything is mental. It's all about having the confidence and whatnot, having a clear mind, going out there, forgetting the last shot, which is, again, another reason as to why I named this podcast the Shooting Part Podcast, because it's also a little mental health thing. Little nod to mental health, and that, my favorite saying is, life's a course, just try and shoot par. It doesn't matter if, you hit an errant shot here or there. Go out there, get yourself back in the fairway, try and make par. So it was cool talking to a sports psychologist or someone studying sports psychology last night. I'm gonna try and see if I can get her on the podcast one week. I was trying to get her to talk about Nelly Corda's amazing downfall, but she said since she doesn't know her, she's not gonna have great insight. So, but I'll try and get her on the podcast at some point, talk about a little bit of the sports psychology side, give you guys a little bit of insight on that. So I think it would be a cool episode. So keep an eye out for that episode coming up at some point. Hopefully, gotta try and convince her to do a podcast. I don't know if she's willing to come on and talk to a phone the way that I am. It's a little bit crazy. I'm speaking to you guys, but I'm talking to a phone. It's a little bit psychotic in my head, but hey, we ball. All right, Rocket Mortgage was not friendly to a lot of the biggest names. So a lot of people missed the cut this past weekend. So you had Tom Kim, Keith Mitchell, Robert McIntyre, Webb Simpson, Gary Woodland all missing the cut, as well as Miles Russell, who is the 15-year-old that just turned pro. First of all, even though he missed the cut, and even though it sucks that he missed the cut, the kid shot even par through 2 rounds. I think he was 2 over one round, 2 over another round. So he shot even par. He's 15. When I was 15, I was shooting 49 on the front 9. Kid's amazing. Kid's going to be a stud for a long time on the PGA Tour. So, even though he missed the cut, that's impressive that he was able to shoot even par. Some of these other guys that I just mentioned were 1, 2, 3 over, and they missed the cut. This kid's shooting even par. He's 15. These guys have been professionals for years. So, impressive, but yeah, it was a rough tournament for a lot of the biggest names in golf, which was interesting to see, especially with this upcoming tournament, because it's kind of going to be very similar names and everything. I don't know how many of the bigger names are going to be jumping out to play in this tournament this upcoming week. But before I get into that tournament, let's go ahead and talk about the Olympics. So Olympics are coming up in close to a month, something like that. Men's and women's out there in Paris. So it's a field of 60 people, and you're going to have some of the biggest names on the men's side. You're going to have Scotty Scheffler, Rory, Xander, Jon Rahm, Iberg, Hovland, and more. On the women's side, you're going to have the likes of Nelly, Lilia, Vu, Hannah Green, Rosang, Brooke Henderson, Lydia Ku, and more. A lot of big names. And I feel like some people are a little bit confused as to why, Bryson's not in it and a couple of other people, Lexi Thompson and whatnot, aren't in it. So the way that they have the field, it's basically 60 players per field with a max of 4 players from one country allowed. So the top 15 in the World Golf Rankings are eligible. So that's where, you have Scotty, Rory, Xander, Jon Rahm, Iberg, Hovland, all top 15, as well as Nelly, Lilia Vu, Hannah Green, Rosang, Brooke Henderson, Lydia Ku. So that's why, you have the top 15, but after the top 15, then the field is made up of 2 eligible players per country, as long as that country doesn't have 2 players in the top 15 already. So hence why, America, I think it's Scotty and who'd it be? Scotty and Xander? I think Xander is American. So Scotty, Xander, so you already have your 2 Americans right there. Bryson's not in the top 15, but since America already had the 2 players in the top 15, they weren't allowed to have another one. So that's the way that the field is made up. So again, you're going to miss out on Bryson, Lexi Thompson, a couple of other big names, but it's still going to be a fun tournament. I mean, it's the Olympics, so it's going to be awesome. I believe Xander won it last time around too. I believe Xander won it last time around, so it'll be interesting to see him go for gold again. But that's coming up in about a month. I'll talk about it a little bit more, getting closer to it and whatnot. But I just wanted to kind of mention it and, get it on people's radars that, the Olympics, there's a lot going on, obviously. I'm a big gymnastics fan when it comes to the Olympics. Obviously, you have the soccer tournament part of it, track and field, and all the other events. But, it'll be fun to see the golfers out there, especially out there in Paris. I'm sure it'll be a beautiful course. But let's go ahead. Let's jump into the upcoming event. It's going to be the John Deere Classic TPC Deere Run, Silvis, Illinois. I'll go over our picks from last week. I shouldn't have even made picks. None of us should have made picks. It was terrible. I picked Miles Russell, Esther Henschelit, and Gabriella Ruffles. 0 points. Neither of them made the cut. The random person picked Robert McIntyre, Cheyenne Knight, and Elizabeth Skoskull. 0 points. None of them made the cut. Mark picked Patrick Cantlay and Brooke Henderson and Lexi Thompson. Patrick Cantlay didn't make the cut, 0 points there, and then Brooke and Lexi were actually top 10, so they got 4 points, or he got 4 points from that. So the season score is, the random is 31 points. I am 39 points. Mark is in the lead now with 42 points for this upcoming tournament. The random person took Jason Day. Mark took Eric Cole. I took Sanjay Im. Again, not much going on this upcoming weekend. So obviously 4th of July, I'm sure everyone's out celebrating and whatnot, but if you're sitting on the beach drinking a beer, throw the tournament on your phone, check it out a little bit. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys this week. Shorter pod. Again, not much golf news, not many events to talk about, not much going on in the events outside of, some tight scores coming down at the end there. But yeah, just go ahead, hit the like button, follow, subscribe. Go check out the Instagram page. Just updated the TikTok as well. So it's still the Mayor Golf Academy TikTok, but we'll be showing a lot of the Shooting Part podcast on there. So yeah, go ahead, check those out, and we'll see you guys next week.